First game was just amazing. I don't think I've ever been that nervous as a coach.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sutherland Basketball Stadium, where we have the restart after COVID break.
You know, the Inner West were a quality team, mixed in with some, current and ex, Australian players and Kings players. They were very well coached.
Yeah, and for Inner West, they are going with Craig Molo, no surprise there. Jackson Simkovich, Ben O'Neill, Daniel Kickett, and Lyndon Smith-Hyde. So very experienced, very quick starting five for Inner West.
They were probably a bit in the same boat as us. They hadn't spent a lot of time together. And that first game was just... It was probably one of the best games of basketball I've ever been involved in. Not just from a playing sense, but from the spectacle of what it was.
Just like one general thing would just be just how our team just competed. We did as we said we were going to do. We ran the floor and we played D. That was just a general thing that we knew we could actually beat the best teams in the league with the guys that we knew we could.
There were many things that happened inside that game that, I look back now and I go, wow.
And here we go.
And finally, basketball is underway, and the tip won by Liam Thomas. Been brought up by Lockie Hutchinson. Looking straight to the corner. Callum Norris in his favourite part, outside for three. Opens the scoring for the Sharks.
That night I really felt, Lockie Hutchinson really came of age. He was a young player with a lot of talent.
Touchback outside, will take on Kickett, and
good move,
layup.
gets to the basket.
I think Hutch was brilliant. That was probably the best game I've seen like a young Salo kid play in my time here. I think Hutch put us on his back and announced himself this year, so that was, I think, really pleasing to see. I got a lot of time for him, and it was excellent to see a young guy stand up and sort of give it to some bigger names in the comp.
Yep, nice.
Force a turnover. Here comes Sutherland in transition.
Hutchinson down the lane.
Beautiful
That'll
Euro
be a nice
step.
layup. There we go.
And he hit some of the biggest shots I've ever seen in Waratah League.
Here's Hutchinson again.
Up
Beautiful
and under,
move.
down the lane. Ball and short just before the clock.
The style by Lockie.
Lockie Hutchinson.
Great steal.
Takes on Daniel Kickett. Finishes
right
the
over.
layup.
And some of the shots he took, I just stood there on the sideline and thought to myself, this guy is just not going to miss.
Step back three is good.
Another one. Get it to Lockie Hutchinson, who will take it down the lane against Kicks. Makes the layup.
But there were so many things and so many memories out of that game. I remember, that was Bailey's first game back.
And just being the first game back from, in a while it was really exciting to win against that sort of team with the two NBL players.
Indeed. Good D here. Gets a steal.
Nice steal from Bailey Muslin, and down the floor, and he'll take on.
And he
he'll
draws
get
a foul.
Sharks out of bounds. They get it to Bailey. Bailey looking for two.
That's
That's
from the
beautiful.
mid-range.
Bailey.
Great defensive effort from Bailey.
Great defensive effort there from the youngster.
Great pressure.
Lyndon Smith-Hyde all over it. 5 on the shot.
Bales for the layup.
Bailey
It's
down
good.
the lane, makes the layup.
Liam Thomas's first game back, in Sutherland colours.
That's when we knew we had a good chance of going all the way.
From Johnny from Inner West.
It's a hard last name.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. Little skyhook from Liam Thomas there.
Offensive rebound.
It's a block by Liam
big
Thomas.
block, Liam Thomas. Get to Lockie Hutchinson. Hutchinson looking inside to Liam Thomas. Picks
Finds
out Callum Norris
corner.
in the corner.
Bang.
Wide open.
Brandon's first game in Sutherland colours for a while.
Kalen Bayer, another three.
Callum Bayer,
Blocked by Brandon
big block.
Bates. Beautiful
Takes him
Euro
on down
step.
the lane, over the
Floater.
top. Daniel
Can't get
Kickett.
Brandon Bates on the putback.
Bates,
For me specifically, when I was posting up against Dan Kickett, I had a nice little spin move on him.
Good ball moving here from the Sharks, getting it inside.
Into Brandon Bates. Up and under.
Off
Look at
balance
that.
a little bit.
Beautiful.
Finishes great.
Our bigs were just really killing it inside and doing way, way better than I think anyone expected.
It was just so cool to see all these players coming together and playing such a high quality brand of basketball.
Pull up from Jaden here
nice.
is good.
Mola looking to get some action going.
Steal by
Kicks it across.
Jake. Veteran. We're on the fast break.
And James McCann looking
Great
straight down to
pass.
Jake Wilson.
For the easy 2
great
points.
eyesight. Jock Jensen, Craig Mola.
Callum Norris. 35 feet.
Into James McCann there. He'll look to take it down in the corner and feed Jake Wilson in the paint.
Great from that
That's Jake
mid-range.
Wilson's bread and butter. So we'll find Brendan again in the corner.
Quick
From the
fire
other
three.
side, three
Good for
ball.
that.
And Jake Wilson to James McCann. James McCann in the paint.
Inside
up
and
under,
one.
and the one.
And then it came down to the wire, and he gave us that go-ahead bucket.
Nothing beats Hutch's game winner. I think that's got to be the only memory, really.
Hutch right at the end was insane that he like pump faked his like pretty much senior in and like an ex like boomer player.
7-8 all. Are we headed to overtime?
10,
Countdown.
9.
Hutchison looking to take this down, and he'll look to set up. He'll pump. Oh, off the foot.
Step through.
And the
He
layup.
makes it with 1 second left to
1.6
put Sutherland
seconds
ahead.
left.
Lachlan
Sutherland up
Hutchison,
by 2.
34 points, 13 rebounds.
Like my first game winner in ABA, I think, so to get that was pretty special.
Getting it done in every way possible, he always does, and just big things like that, big plays down the stretch.
I never realised just how big that game got until afterwards when people started telling me, did you realise how many people were watching that game via your live stream?
Oh, that was a phenomenal game. Lockie was phenomenal.
You know, I remember after the game thinking to myself, I don't think I've ever seen a team with that little preparation play so well. And that gave us, I think, that confidence to really springboard into our season. But yeah, that first game was probably one I'll never forget. Obviously, coming out of playing the Inner West, we had a lot of confidence. And it was always going to be a really tricky game for us because we were coming off that emotional high of beating a team of quality like the Inner West Bulls. So I had flagged this one as a danger game for us because Hills had some players. They were a relatively big squad and they could shoot the ball well.
So the Hills retain possession of the ball through Binder. He has the opening shot and gets it to drop. So the turns the ball back inside. Good drive to the basket, and the Hills get 2.
Hills was a grind. That's my general memory. We had to grind out a game against them. We played at home, thinking we were probably going to roll over the top of Hills.
Went into halftime, I think, with about a 10-point lead, but we just didn't have our usual flair that we were playing with. And I don't think we ever got it really in that game. I think we got a 5-minute run there in the third quarter. Or the back end of the third quarter, and it pushed it out, I think, to about 20 to 25 points, and we kind of coasted really from there.
That was a tough one because we thought we were better than what we were.
But again, we were led by Lockie.
Confronted by Hutchison. Tries to get him round him. Almost does, then drives to the basket. Hutchison says, get it out of here.
We started to see a lot more impact from Liam.
So Binder driving to the basket, rejected by Thomas. The basket just gets it up and over Thomas.
And we had some tremendous impact from Jimmy off the bench as well.
The shot comes back to Hutchison, comes to McCann. He gets the shot away. Nice looking
Good
shot.
shot selection.
He in turn finds McCann. Gets it into Bates
There
in the
you
passing
go.
lane.
Way to run, big fella.
Gets
Good
the pass
pass.
through. Bates with the finish. 4 seconds on the shot clock. Still going McCann. Gets the pass inside to
Good
Bates.
pass.
Lovely
Good
move.
Brandon Bates.
I remember hitting a left-handed floater at the I think it was at the halftime buzzer. So that's my standout memory of that game.
The Sharks will have an opportunity to get away one quick shot if they're good enough. They work it down the court. Comes away to McCann. McCann gets inside. Fires it up and gets it in. Sinks it on the buzz.
BJ also said that I was close to 40 on the broadcast as well, so I remember that.
So we were starting to see more players begin to get involved in our games, which was the most pleasing aspect to me.
Sharks now bringing the ball up the court. And nice move.
The ever-reliable Jake Wilson. Gotta love him.
Has a slide opening, it closes quickly. Dumps the pass inside to Fing. Fing
Oh,
goes
good
to
move.
work. Nice move. Now, so Fing gets it to Norris. Almost a double dribble there. Fires away the 3 and makes it count. And the Sharks have really taken their opportunities as Win Stanley with the 3. Hits it.
Because ultimately that was going to be the telling thing about our season was, can we get all our players to play and working towards common goal?
Good pass.
Fires it across. And Apolloni comes
Nice,
away with a
Evan.
rebound.
Oh, knockdown.
Back to Hutchison for the three.
Big play, Evan. Big play, Evan.
Thought about the play looked to be going up, and the shot comes through. Yeah.
Good move, young fella.
Even though we didn't really play great, we still did enough to win, and we got more players involved in the rotations. So that was a big plus for us. Maitland is one of the toughest road trips you will ever get in the Waratah League. And of course, Maitland being Maitland, they got out of the blocks really quickly. I think we were down something like 20-8 inside the first 5 minutes. You know, and I'm looking down the bench and I sort of see the guys again and I'm like, these guys aren't panicking. They know it, but they've got confidence in our ability. And slowly but surely we started to, you know, play better, peg our way back, and then I think we hit some big shots just before half time. So we'd shown tremendous character to come back and really come together as a group. And then the second half, I remember we started executing really, really well. I started to see, you know, Liam Thomas, I think, probably had one of his best games.
I remember that was the first game where I started to feel like myself. Had some good post moves, I remember.
His impact both at the offensive end and the defensive end was just phenomenal.
I think he got a fair few blocks as well, and he scored a fair bit. And I just remember him being up and down, and kind of everywhere, which for a big guy is very, very impressive to see.
You know, we were without Bailey that game, so we were down a guard rotation.
That was always tough. It was a tough week, knowing that Bales wasn't going to be there, and he'd already proved that like he was such a big role that we needed.
And I remember Jimmy playing some really long minutes that game, and he was just outstanding. So I was incredibly proud of that effort because I know how hard it is to go there and win. North Sydney is one of the toughest teams inside the competition, again with a lot of depth.
I remember Garlett being back. Garlett was someone that I sort of played pretty early on. And
there was a lot of excitement going into that one as well, especially versus Jordan Hunter.
And I remember walking in feeling very, very confident about the way that we were going to play.
We came in with a bit of a, you know, guys know everyone from North and everyone knows everyone from Souther. It was a bit of a rivalry.
Our first half, I felt, was probably the best basketball that we'd played. And at half time, you know, we went into it thinking we're a really good shot here.
I think bigly that game was Liam Thomas. They got Jordan Hunter. It was a big challenge for him, and I think he was really just there the whole game, just really making it tough for him. So yeah.
I remember Batesy was phenomenal. So, you know, there's someone I'm not familiar with and I've never seen play before this season, but to go up against an NBL big and more than hold his own.
But North's being the quality outfit that they are, you knew they were never going to go away. And they stretched it out to about a 6 to 8 point lead. And even though we didn't quite get it back, we still, there was the intent for us to compete never left us.
Big moment from there was just us never giving up. We were down on momentum a lot in that game, I felt, but we just kept grinding for it. We just kept going for it, and then, you know, we we stayed there enough to have a sniff right at the end, but just couldn't get it done.
And that was our first loss of the year. We didn't leave that game thinking that we played badly. We left that game knowing that we had to take our game to another level if we were going to compete at the top end.
I remember us talking like after the game how many offensive rebounds they had.
When we played really well in patches, we'd close 8, 10, 12-point leads in a minute. So I think that game, although we lost, probably instilled a little bit of belief in us as a group and our ability and talent, that when we actually got things clicking, we were really hard to stop.
So in a way, that loss was probably a bit of a blessing for us, in a way, in that it taught us that our style of play and the way we were approaching games was good. However, what we were going to need was to take our game just to that next level, to compete with these teams with so many quality players in them. Manly have been one of the front-running teams for the last 3 to 4 years. And coming off our first loss against North, we had to really regroup that week. We showed up at the stadium, and I remember getting a tap on the shoulder, from Lockie, and he said, "Coach, do you realise Sam Froling's going to play?"
That was Sam Froling's first game, and we didn't know he was going to play until tip-off.
And I remember saying to the group, I said, "These are the teams you want to play. These are the players that we want to play against." Unfortunately, we didn't play great.
The Manly game was probably the only game this year that I thought we weren't in it at all.
I don't want to talk about the Manly game, honestly.
Straight after we finished that game, a lot of the players, came together. And they invited me in as well, and they said, "Coach, we need some more. We're going to need some more stuff to get us through here." And it was at that stage that I thought, okay, we're ready to take the next steps now. We rolled into practice on that next Monday, and there was just this look of determination on everybody to go, we know we have the talent. We're just going to build our game to complement the talent. Probably what North and Manly taught us was that we just didn't have the right combinations. And we just didn't have the right flow with the players.
I think in that game we were absolutely overawed and didn't turn up, and then I think it probably put us in good position for the grand final to actually come in with a bit of confidence and rattle the cage a little bit.
In a way, those North Sydney and Manly games were good for us. We got better from them. We changed what we were doing.
There are always points in a season as a coach that you put a line in and go, well, that helped us. And those 2 losses definitely did. Look, I was really disappointed that Newcastle, Canberra and Maitland had obviously pulled out of the competition, but we also respected, their decisions as well.
I guess I'm super competitive, so obviously every season you want to win, and I guess probably my only reservation were you don't want to win a season and have people, be detractors and say, oh yeah, but it was a fuddy season or it was a half comp. So I guess I felt a little bit of that and a little bit of disappointment because you want to go up against the best sides, and I'd enjoyed playing Canberra in the pre-season, and they were new guys to go up against. So
I was really looking forward to playing Newcastle. I thought Maitland were within a crack of being top 4.
I honestly thought there wasn't going to be a season. So, another word again, disappointment.
It would have been good to have 3 more teams to make the comp a bit more legitimate.
It definitely took away a lot of competitive teams. Newcastle were definitely there for a spot in the top 4/6, and Maitland and Canberra as well, all tough teams.
It was a bummer, considering Newcastle doing all right too, and Canberra were one to watch out for. It would have been interesting if they stayed, how the ladder would have ended up.
Ultimately, the season and COVID, was dictating a lot more things than what we could control. The Central Coast game was the turning point for us as a group. The Central Coast were the defending champs, and we were going to the Central Coast. So we knew it was going to be hard. We had come off 2 losses, and then we obviously had our game against Newcastle cancelled. So we were fresh, but we hadn't tried a lot of our new systems in match play. So that build-up was probably our best training week ever. And the way the players applied themselves. And I remember that was the first game we threw Nick Feng in as a starter. What he did early on in the game probably gave us the footprint for what we were going to do later on in the game.
Man, that one just felt good. Just when Cal, who else, B-Win, Hutch hitting those threes, God, that whole game was fantastic.
Guys like myself, Brendan Winstanley, you know, guys who are good shooters, found where they could get good shots in our offense and really run the floor.
I think I got a dunk in that one as well, so I was pretty happy with that.
I spent a lot of that game on the bench. I had an absolute howler. I think I played about 30 seconds and turned the ball over 4 times. I think Hutch got a alley-oop for Liam. And there was maybe a tip-in and...
Great ball movement. So watching the tape of that game, phenomenal passing by Lockie and Bailey.
Everybody's going to remember that game for how well we shot the ball, how well we played on that defensive end. But for me, it was the players who were willing to do the little things. There were players that didn't score a point, but went on and grabbed 3 or 4 rebounds. And the players really bought into our system and our style and really bought into the fact of we can win the comp.
We were just in a really good place and a rhythm, and it was the most fun I've ever had playing basketball in ABAs.
We all gelled together and we all knew exactly where each other were going to be.
And, you know, the way that we played, we ended up winning by about 15 points, I think, in the end. And I remember going into the locker room afterwards, and our leaders in Jake and Locke, you know, were very vocal in reassuring the squad that we deserved to be there. And I think that game really made us as a group.
That was just unreal. To be a part of something like that was just next level, I think. Like, it was just a roller coaster of emotions, no matter who you were. Like, if you were sitting at the back row of I had some family friends come and watch that game, and they were like puffing after the game because of how intense it was.
It was a very fond memory going up to the Central Coast, but for me as a coach, it was more about how the players responded. We always knew we had talent. We'd shown it in patches, but we'd never shown it for a long period of time throughout a game. And that was the game that we showed that. So the Bankstown game was our last game here at home. We were in this position where somehow games had fallen our way, and if we were to win this game and a result to go our way, we'd actually finish inside the top 2. I knew Bankstown would be incredibly tough, and that game was a bit of a nervous game for us. We didn't play great.
Sloppy game, came down on the wire, we were just complacent.
We thought we were going to come out and really put 20 on them and just kind of coast the rest of the game, but they stuck within 10.
I remember Liam Thomas got his first dunk that game.
Will has the ball, gets it away to Thomas, and Thomas with the dunk gets it home for the...
And that was a big thing. Actually, I got my first dunk too in that game too, so...
Christodoulides now gets it away to Lopez, and
Good
Hutchison
defense.
steals the ball.
Look out.
And he'll drive to the basket, makes the basket.
We should have just punished them, but we decided to make it hard for ourselves.
I think we took them for granted and they came out with nothing to lose.
You know, and I think we were really lucky, in the end. I think they had a couple of shots to try and tie the game.
They gave us a pretty good scare, but I think that kind of built towards finals.
It was nerve-wracking, and it was a bit frustrating as a coach for that one, because I knew how well we could play, but we just could not find a rhythm. We just could not find our groove that night.
We could have been better, but we turned up and we did enough to get that win. And I think from that point we were sort of marching with a bit of momentum towards the semis and the finals.
It was a bad game.
There were different players showing again why they deserve to be in the squad. Bailey had a really good game that night.
We're not going anywhere as the defence is good now.
There you
Muslim
go.
drives to
Good
the basket.
move, Bailey. Good move.
Into the basket. Under pressure from Hutchison. Gets the pass away.
Good
Great
hustle.
work there.
Good hustle.
And I also remember Jake Wilson having a really good game as well.
Thinks about the three. Nice move to Wilson. Muslim to win Stanley. Gets it to Wilson. Wilson fires up the shot. That's a sweet looking shot from Wilson.
It was really good for us to get the win. But it's probably a win that we will look back on and go, we were a touch lucky. They'd done something that not a lot of Sutherland teams have done for a while.
It would be a shame if I came second again. That's not the last time we'll be in that last game of the season.
The fact that we were, so competitive gives me a lot of confidence for future years. And
so it was just a really proud moment.
Hungry for more.